All right, so I guess I have some other stuff to say. It was coming through me a few minutes ago, but I didn't have the camera on, so now, of course, breaking that and putting the camera on and just trying to get back to the channeling. I mean, guys, I don't sit home and I don't have a home. Sit down and write all this stuff out, plan it out. I can say, what am I going to say today? To catch their attention. I just turn the camera on when I start channeling it, and when it starts coming through me, it's like people. I'm sure people looking and go like, this guy's crazy. He's talking to himself. It's like, no, it's coming through me, and I have to get it out. If I don't get it out, it's like it burns a hole into me. So that's your creator's way to say, please, do your best, try to help him, So I was thinking that the whole thing about you believe books that were written 2,000 years ago about a guy that didn't even write anything in those books, right? As being the gospel and the word of God, yet you won't listen to what I'm saying and say, look, those guys wrote those books because they wanted to be remembered. They wrote those books because they felt something for the person. But I guarantee you, there was no disciples, man. There was a small group of people. It was three entities that made up the Christ consciousness: John the Baptist, Christ, and someone and Saul or Paul, but not the Paul the disciple. It was another Paul, Saul. He went for both names. That's really the trio. That's the where the whole Mother, Son, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost come from. It is still three people, right, that make up the Christ consciousness that was trying to, Christ came back, from a long trip, and studied a lot of different religions and try to understand their meaning, and he then realized that he was Arcturian, and all of a sudden that just started downloading to them, and he had to get it out, and because he was Jewish, of course he went back to the Israelites and try to. But then the problem was that all this information that he got was sometimes contrary to their book, and because of it, it created like a divide, and the higher up rabbis and leading men in Israel at that time, because it was just men. They didn't want anyone. There's no way that you bringing Buddhism into Judaism, but if we follow your word, that means we might as well just change this to Buddhism. But that wasn't the case. He was trying to explain what was not said to them and was not told to them properly, because once told that you have not just this life but many lifetimes, and what's happening is that you're being that information is being taken away from you. That information is being taken away from you because it wants to hold you back and your ascension process, because it needs a larger pool of slaves, and then a large pool of souls at the end. So there's only three entities. So the disciples were people that were around him and watched him and maybe followed him, but they weren't as part of the story as they make it out to be. And that's because they needed to they all got together and said, let's do something with this, man. This is an amazing thing. I mean, too bad he died, but blah blah. But he didn't really die. He escaped. And so did John the Baptist, and sort of what you consider Mary. the prostitute, but she wasn't a prostitute, man. You know, it was that's what you labeled, you know, your people that were. She was more. She basically she was what the same thing as the witch. Yeah, the witches were they were considered, you know, witches because they practiced more of an earth-based understanding and religion, and they didn't have to go straight to God. They went to Mother Earth first because, you know, God's a little bit busy, so, you know, Mother Earth is like, you know, so that's the whole concept of that pagan, what you consider pagan, but it's really an earth-based spiritual practice, right? So that's what she was, and they just labeled her a prostitute, but other than that. Where's my point in this? Oh yeah, so you believe the stuff that was written like 2,000 years ago by these people? You're not even sure. I mean, they're telling you. I mean, if I was like, hey, I'm writing a book and I'm saying I'm a big part of what's going on. You know, it's like I watched it all, and we all just love Jesus and blah blah blah. But how do you know that's true? And the thing of it is that it doesn't really matter because it has nothing really to do with the message that man was trying to express, that they distorted, you know, because no matter what, he didn't write anything, right? He didn't have video to take. He had no way of really, and the few things that he did write ended up being, you know, taken in and well, no, it's not prudent for us to follow this way of this belief, because then it goes against our own, you know, spiritual practice of heaven and hell, and you know, we have one life, and we're the chosen people, and blah blah blah. So that was not good. That's one of the big reasons they try to kill him. But I guarantee you that for somebody as important as those three men, and there's only one man that ended up dying, and it wasn't John the Baptist, and it wasn't Christ. It was Saul at the end, because he's the one who got them out of the country and somewhere else, in South America, and then they allowed. Then he stayed back, and unfortunately, he sacrificed his own life by not saying where they went, because he knows that if he would have went with them, they would have followed somehow. But he stayed and you know, got them off of, like, you know, like the bloodhounds off of the descent, and they had no idea until much later, as the church was formed, and then that was taken, that understanding was then taken and then followed through, and that's really why, and this is South America. He ended up with the Olmec people. At the end, it's the last of the Olmec, because the Olmec people were actually very, 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 they were very Mayan-like. They had a large, but then, you know, like a group and a tribe and very, very advanced as well, and, you know, but then something happened there. Something. I wasn't there, so I can't. They're not giving me that information. But something happened to the Olmec, and then it was down to a small amount again, like they were when they first started. They were very trying. You know, they ended up, you know, something kind of like destroyed them. I'm not sure if it was also a money thing, or I don't think they had money. So I'm not, you know. But no matter what, it was a small group of people, tribe members left, and that's the group that Jesus and John and Mary ended up integrating with, and having children, and you know, the bloodlines was there, and that Olmec civilization was the foundation for the Mayan, the Incan, and the Aztec civilizations that then, you know, sprouted out of that. But the Olmec were the original people of that time, of that, you know, that era. So, as I said, you want to believe the book, or you want to believe me right now? Because none of this shit, I swear to God, what I just said, I don't memorize. I didn't read anywhere. I didn't. All of a sudden, when I start talking about it, it comes through to me exactly the same way. I'm telling you, I'm not. It is channeled, and most of you don't believe me. That's the problem. You'll think I'm doing this to try to make a book or a movie or some shit like that, or you think I'm just off the wall crazy and I just need medication. It's none of those things. I start thinking about it, and it channels through me. A lot of times it's regarding, it's a plant medicine that helps the process unlock. It's really not it doesn't. It kind of like unlocks the like the cap that they put on everyone. It kind of like unlocks it, but for me especially more, because that cap was already ripped off, and it's just the remnants of it. And when it does, when I'm a certain way, it does still block me. But when at one point it just comes through for me. That's why I have to make these videos, because what I'm just saying right now, I can repeat again. I actually, when I watch it, I'm like, oh shit, wow, that's pretty good knowledge, man. Too bad nobody else understands it and gets it. Because what I'm saying is I'm not doing it to make money. I'm not doing it to sell you anything. I'm not doing it to make myself famous. I'm not doing it to become the next Messiah. I'm not doing it to fucking to brainwash a whole bunch of people and make them take fucking Kool-Aid laced with fucking cyanide or something. I'm not doing any of that. How are you? What I'm doing is telling you exactly what's coming through me at the moment that I say it. And these things that are coming through me, I guarantee you, are not coming from me, are not coming from my Arcturian soul. They're coming from your Creator, Mother Earth, the Sun, and the universe. The moon too. This information is coming directly from a place where you should be listening to as well. You got your scientists, with the radars waiting for like the signals from into space. It's nothing about that. It's about wiping all that shit away, and